Tim Knight, and it is time for the wonderful world of charting, and we're going to jump right into the chart, like so, EWY, and now I'm going to start talking at you. Okay, it's a good day, but it was a day preceded by great terror. From time to time, especially in this permanently up market of ours, which has been in an uptrend for 18 years now because of government intervention, I reach a point where it's just like, well, this is it. I mean, this is, if we get one more update, it's all over. And that's how I felt on Friday. Those of you who read me on Slope, those of you who watch me here, I show up here rain or shine, good or bad days, sad or happy, do my job. And some days are harder than others, but it was definitely like, well, this is, if we don't fall on Monday, forget it. You know, the bulls have another 20 years of, fiat-based descent to look forward to. I think God looked down and just shook his head and said, that poor SOB, we'll give him a break. And so we are getting a down day today. It's a particularly good day for me because I'm, as you know, very focused on semiconductors and tech on the short side. I also, I'll trade anything with a ticker symbol. And so I'll trade all kinds of weird stuff nobody's ever heard of because they're not politically helpful. Nobody cares about, UMC as a political talking point. They're just going to talk about the Dow. So it is a good day and everything's going well, but it was terrifying. And it was particularly frustrating because over the weekend, there was news that in a normal, sane world would have the Dow down 8,000 points right now. But instead, looking at the markets, IG weekend showed markets down 0.25%, pretty much all weekend long, no matter how many bombs were blowing up. And Bitcoin was just like picking its nose and saying, I'm $64,000. And that was it. It didn't budge. So it's like, well, I mean, I was prepared to scoot out of my Bitcoin short if I needed to, just, take the little bit of profits I had and just scurry out if things were bouncing. And I fully expected we might have a green open on our hands. Because in this environment, all the man has to say is, P stocks are going well. And for some reason that I cannot divine, people believe that and they bid the market up. It works every time. The whole boy who cried wolf tale doesn't apply anymore. You can say it 10,000 times. Peace talks are going well. Just, utter fabrication made of whole cloth. It's like, okay, let's buy stocks. And up they go. So I was worried about that. A little more seriously, though, there actually is a point where people are like, I don't think so. And you're lying. And I'm not going to buy stocks based on your ceaseless pronouncements of peace. Maybe we've reached that point. I don't know. I don't really believe it. I don't have the greatest faith in human capacity to judge and to reason. So we're probably still in this knee-jerk environment. We could be up to record highs tomorrow for all I know. But what I will say, to thank the market gods out there that did smile upon me, is that it is one good day. And in this market, the bears often get one good day out of 50 or so. And then it's back to the same old crap. But we take things one chart at a time, and things continue to go well with tech shorts, with semiconductor shorts. And I will also say that if this AI bubble has indeed started a leak, and I have more and more reasons to believe that it has, then semiconductors are in a world of hurt. The KORU, which is the leveraged South Korean ETF, is about a third of its value from June 1st, something like that. And I think the damage has only just started. Hope so. Hope there's lots more to come. Give me a multi-year bear market, then I'll be a happy guy. That's all I ask. So here's EWY. I came into the day short this bad boy. As you can see, it's been having a dreadful time. And so we're down 8.35% on this as the whole AI/semiconductor hyperscaling nonsense falls to pieces. Here's the ES. This is what made me sad, which is what we're really all here for. Let's try to keep poor Tim's hopes up. As of Friday, it looked utterly poised for a breakout. We've approached this level here, and then again on Friday. It would not have taken much to send it to lifetime highs. Like I said, one nonsensical bromide would have done the trick. I guess he's distracted with other things at the moment, but it didn't happen. So we've undone Friday's gains and part of Thursday's gains. As you can see, though, we have still been in an uptrend starting on this bar here. This was kind of the last vestige of real selling back on June 11. So it's just been like a higher low and a higher low. So we've been in this uptrend. So we are so not out of the woods. I'm talking as if there's another bear out there. I'm the only one. I know I'm the only one. I mean, the most I've heard from anybody out there is, we appreciate your work because if you're bearish on something, we at least don't buy it. Which, okay, doing something, God's work, right? But there's no bears out there. I would have heard from you by now. So maybe I'm helpful in as much as it's like, okay, well, Tim hates such and so I won't buy it. Okay, that's something. So in this instance, we have not broken anything. It's still channel bound. We're still just kind of ambling about in this wide range, and I have no bearish declarations. I have no victory lap to offer you, none of that. It's going to take so much more than this before I tee-hee-hee my way out of the program. As it is now, it's just I'm still scared of my own shadow, although I'm incredibly short, which itself is a bit of a challenge. IBIT, which is Bitcoin, down, which I appreciate too, over 3% drop. I saw that Eric, the son of that man, Eric, was tweeted out how Ethereum, I think, was pumping. I guess he decided to use a millennial term, so it was pumping. So I guess it was down 57% instead of 58% or something. So it was like down less. And this tweet came out. That like top ticked the market exactly. Because the cold fact of the matter is that crypto's been in a bear market for many months, and it's lost 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 95% of its value, depending on what you're looking at. So yeah, Eric, I guess it was pumping for a few minutes. But God willing, the bounce we've seen since July 1 is dead. Here's what the entirety of one of my portfolios is in right now. BITI, we're up on this 3.14%. Again, no victory lap. I'll make a victory stroll if we get past this price gap right here. That'll be the first sign that maybe we got something here. But the fact that it's up is a nice thing. Oh, speaking of Eric, here's ABTC. It's rather drab and dull to keep repeating this, but a lifetime low on this one. So down like 98% or something like that on American Bitcoin. Other related crypto stuff is getting hammered too. Bullish, the most pitifully named company, Bullish, down, approaching lifetime lows, not hoes, and it's down almost 6%. But my focus isn't on this junk. It's about semiconductors. SMH is down 4.45%, definitely going the right way. I have the largest options position of my life in January SMH puts. And so I'd really appreciate this thing getting destroyed. Obviously, they're profitable, but I have much bigger plans for the size of those profits if things go the way I'd like them to go. This is a tough read. Yes, we've been trending down in fits and starts and violent counter trend reactions. We're moving the right direction, but it's nothing definitive. Oh, good. New lows for the day on the ES. That's good to see. That's pumping in the wrong direction, right? Some individual items, short positions, ARM, down 8.22%. Applied Material, I love this one. As regular viewers know that this is predicated upon nothing except the fact that my daughter's middle-aged coworkers are giddy about how their stock's finally doing something. For that reason alone, I decided to short the devil out of the thing. CRDO, Credo Technology, down almost 8%. A lot of stuff's down 8, 9%, 10%, 11%. Nokia, down over 6%. All these move in the right direction. All of them are short. STM, this is ST Microelectronics, down almost 5%. On and on it goes. United Microelectronics down 4.5% approximately. So all kinds of good things going on. All sorts of demolitions happening around us. And our old favorite AXTI, I mention this one daily because it does God's will every single day, down another 14%. Utter wipeout here. We've gone from 140 to about 40 or so. And again, the market, Dow was at lifetime highs today, I believe. I think the Dow was at lifetime highs We have so much more to do in this market. But I wrote a piece, some of you might have read on Slope this weekend, about how I think the election is going to play off, of how it's going to inform the market. And I wrote to one of our content folks here at Tasty about, hey, you want me to do a video about this? I haven't heard back from him. I don't know if he wants me to or not. There's no politics in it, actually. It's really just kind of a, here's a 2x2 grid, and here's what I think is going to happen based on these various outcomes. So there's no, strident posturing on my part. It's just sort of what I hope are helpful insights about how I think the politics in the election will inform the behavior of the market from now until January. Marvell, MRVL, is down also. Over 8%, cutting below this gap, which is terrific. I had covered it here, re-entered it here, hoping it would cut through, and it has done so. That's been blasted aside. Micron, our dear friend Micron, is down over 5%. You kind of get there's a theme here. STX Seagate also down over 6%. That's immaterial at this point. Let's get rid of that line. WDC down also almost 6%. So just all sorts of juicy goodness. KORU down over 6%. This is part of that hyperscaling thing that's falling apart. Maybe you've seen the Apple lawsuit against OpenAI. There's Apple's doing great, by the way. They're doing sensationally well because they had the sense to not bother. Hats off to Apple. Hats off to Apple shareholders. Apple's doing great. And I mentioned, I've wrote about this many times. They just folded their arms, like, go nuts, Larry Ellison, have fun. We'll just keep our hundreds of billions of dollars of cash right here where it's safe, pat, pat, pat. So good for them. They've done well. Oh, speaking of Oracle and Larry Ellison, here we go. Complete wipeout. 19-year-old women are going to lose interest in you, Larry. Things keep going like this. It's just getting wiped out. Oracle is just crumbling to pieces. And as my friend Ed Zitron might say, or there may not be an Oracle if this hyperscaler thing really goes sideways. He has pledged a huge amount of his personal wealth on the hyperscaling effort. It's a big deal. So yeah, Oracle getting slaughtered too. This does not delight me. It is doing exactly what I said it would, and it does not delight me at all for reasons I've hinted at way too heavily. But I can't do anything about it. Nobody can sell until August 11. New low for SpaceX. I would hasten to add that last week, all the analysts came out and every single one except for one was a buy. And so the stock now is roughly what the IPO price was, not the IPO day price, that was 150, but the actual IPO price, like pre-public markets. I think it's going to go a lot lower. This gives me no pleasure to say, okay, this is no axe to grind here, just the opposite. I'd love to see this reach Raymond James' projection of $838 a share, which is just bonkers. But yeah, this is exactly what I thought, and I think it's just going to keep slipping and slipping and slipping as that selling starts, not until August 11, and then on and on and on until December 9. And believe me, the employees at SpaceX, they're bumming right now because they're looking at this like, this is down 40% in like a couple of weeks. WTF, SPCX, what's going on here? So interesting to watch, but not giddy about this. Do I have any last thoughts? I don't know. I guess I will just forego the rest of the symbols I've got. I'll just bounce to the very last symbol right here, which is NQ. This will be the key one. We've been in a range. We've been in the lower half of that range for the past 7 or 8 trading days, bouncing like a ping pong ball within that range. If we can get below the support line, then we'll get some real new selling going on. If we don't, we could just have another drag up again because we've been bound by this thing for like a month now. So let's watch that line to see if we can crack it for some new selling to happen. As it is now, there's no reason for me to say that this is going to happen or not. We're just fingers crossed. So I will see you tomorrow, and I hope you're doing well. Bye-bye.